So, I know what you're thinking. This is probably the most insane thing you will ever see. And that is, yes, I'm doing this is a fanfiction idea based off of Welcome to Horrorwood, the new Ice Nine Kills album. Yep, completely insane. Totally 100% insane. Yeah, so in this story is going to be basically it's like a horror anthology with the likes of in the vein of like Creepshow, Tales from the Dark Side, Tales from the Crypt, stuff like that. But it's like there's an overarching story in between the other 13 tracks, like the 13 chapters. So our first story, well, let's talk about the overarching story. So the story centers around you going into a old movie producer studio, meeting a guy only known as the producer, and he's like, "So you want to work in the movies, huh? It's a real killer. You know, you only make a real cut. You know, you only make the cut if you're good enough. So let me show you some scripts I've been working on. They're to die for." So the first one he hands you is not Welcome to Horrorwood, actually. What is that it's a rash decision. And in this, a rash decision, this version is based off of Amphibia. And forewarning, it ain't going to be pretty. Because if you know, it's Amphibia now crossing over with Cabin Fever. But there's a difference here. So in this, basically, it's a lovely day in Horrorwood. And basically, everyone's just, the frogs are all enjoying the lake after the monsters have been cleared out, and everyone's just enjoying a time, except for Sprig and the planners. The planners don't, they think it's overcrowded, so Hop Pop recalls a old pond that when he was younger, he would pass by and fish at, but no one really swam there for some reason. He never understood why. So Anne gets the idea, is like, let's go there, and of course, Hop Pop is like, I think there is a reason why no one swam there. So, ignoring the warnings, they all go for a swim there. And if you know why, that's a bad idea. Yeah, so we got some real body horror here. Like, when they go home, all of their skin is just coming off. Like, it's just really horrendous. Like, Anne's trying to shave her legs, and of course, it's reminiscent of that scene with, the skin coming off. And of course, they get quarantined. The rest of the town has to quarantine them. But what happened was, when Sprig came back, Polly was swimming in it, because she's still a tadpole in this story. She was swimming in that pond and using the water in her bucket. She spilled it, and it went into the well. So the whole town is now infected by the parasites, and it's just a horror show. It's just a horror show. So our next story. So our next story is Assault and Batteries, and of course this centers around Chucky. Now, Assault and Batteries in this story is basically a crossover with the Loud House, where Lincoln has completely he's forgotten Lana and Lola's birthday, and he runs all around town until he finds a garage sale with a certain doll sitting there, and he gets it for $5 and hands it to him. And this goes about as well as you think, because Chucky's there, and he is just one by one killing the members of the Loud House, just brutally murdering them. What was a good one? He was trying to Luann is making jokes, and he's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, this kid's amateur hour." So, essentially what Chucky does to Luann is, while she's doing her bit in the shower, he's like, "Hey kid, you ever hear the one about the kid with the toaster in the shower?" And he chucks a toaster in there and just electrocutes her. It's an anthology, don't gotta... On top of that, it's fanfiction. Everyone can fucking die. So Chucky just brutally murders everyone in the Loud House. It's just horrible. It's just a bad time. Anyway. So our next one, I did a little change up here, is Hip to be Scared. So in the story, Hip to be Scared, basically what happens in this story is that it follows a it follows Arnold from Hey Arnold, and as he's slowly like losing his mind after years upon years of just dealing with everyone's bullshit, and it's starting to really weigh on him, and he's starting to just go nuts in a very Patrick Bateman kind of way, where there's just I want to have a great moment where he's talking to Harold and he's like, "Do you like Ice Nine Kills?" And Harold's like, "Not really, they suck." I used to think the same way. They have a cool, crisp sound, and you know where this is going. So it eventually ends with, "Hey, Harold!" So following that is Take Your Pick, where in here we follow Star, Marco, and the gang all going to the Valentine Bluffs because Jana decided to tell a scary story in the vein of Are You Afraid of the Dark, about the curse of the Hanniger mine, and she's like, they say he's still down there. They say he's still down there in that mine, and Star's like, "Let's go!" They go there, and of course Star forgets her wand, and she doesn't take humans as a big threat, and runs into, Axel Palmer, aka, also known as Harry Warden, because they're, Axel's crazy and thinks he's Harry. So they all, Marco, of course, gets the classic, because they edited this one out, the pick through the mouth and out the eye, and they find Star's body in a washing machine, just like the old woman in the movie. So that all the characters' deaths are all reminiscent of the My Bloody Valentine movie. Next up, we have in the next story we have the shower scene, which in here the producer mentions. I couldn't really get far with this one. This was a script that I was basically like just writing through, and I just had bits and pieces. So this is a short one. It's called the shower scene. So in this, we basically follow. What was it? Oh yeah, Marie from Ed, Edd n Eddy. Marie Kanker from Ed, Edd n Eddy. And she stops over. This is a total AU. This one's total AU, where she stops over at at a motel run by Double D. And Double D is, of course, our Norman Bates for the story. And throughout here, he's talking about his mother who lives up in the house, and he's basically like he's the crazy one, and Marie's just trying to get from A to B because her car broke down, and she is just basically trying to get to her sisters who live in a new trailer park, and she was the one who was the last one to make it. Like, she had to work over final arrangements over their mom's death, so she had to stay behind and finish the paperwork while they were all getting set up a new trailer park. She stops at this motel. She didn't check out. Anyway. So, in the next one, we follow Funeral Derangements. So, in the story Funeral Derangements, this one is a Gravity Falls one where, in here, it's just a normal day in Gravity Falls. Everyone's just playing. There's no monsters to be held until Mabel gets hit by. Not Mabel. Until Waddles gets hit by a truck. Waddles gets hit by a pickup truck. Waddles dies, and Dipper sees this. He doesn't tell Mabel, and he's like, "Oh, Jesus, this will destroy her for the rest of her life. What do I do?" And Stan basically says, "All right, kid, I know how to fix this, but you gotta be cool with it." So he takes him to this place way out in the woods where it was an old pet cemetery. And beyond that is a burial ground. And he says, "We're gonna bury the pig here. He'll come back." He's like, and of course Dipper's like, "You sure this is a good idea?" And he's like, "I hope so." So Waddles comes back, and he is completely the pig is completely out of his goddamn mind, and he's just terrorizing everyone. And yeah, it following, but Mabel thinks it's all fine. It's still her favorite pig. There's nothing wrong here until Waddles runs out in the road. Mabel gets hit by a truck, so Mabel's gone, and Dipper, of course, being the loving brother that he is, And Stan says, "I know what you're thinking, dude. Don't do it. Don't do it." Dipper, of course, digs up his sister, buries her in the pet cemetery. She comes back and just starts murdering everyone until Dipper has to stop her. And of course, Mabel's last words would be, "No fair. No fair." Of course, one of the victims was Wendy. And Stan, at this point, who's also dead, but now he's come back as a ghost, he's like, "Dipper, don't do this. You know, Mabel, I waited too long with Mabel. I can bring her back. She just died." And, yeah, when Wendy comes back, her first words to her are, "Darling." So, yeah, straight up Pet Cemetery story. See, I can do other stuff with Gravity Falls, you know. I do listen to the comments, people. So, following that, what was the next one? Oh yeah, Rainy Day. So Rainy Day is a Resident Evil one, but this is more set around. Who was it? Oh yeah, this was Black Lagoon. Yeah, the Black Lagoon anime. And in here, the task is the city of Roanapur has been hit by the T-virus, which this honestly could be a story in of itself, but it's more or less the Lagoon Company trying to survive a zombie apocalypse after the Umbrella Corporation released the virus into the city. So, that's it in a nutshell. That's Rainy Day in a nutshell. I know a lot of these songs are out of order, but it's fine. So, the next one... Oh, what was the next one? I'm trying to remember. Crap, because I know I had music for all of them. Oh right, Fly. So Fly in here. Fly in this story is centered around Dexter from Dexter's Lab and trying to recreate the teleporter. They did kind of do this in the show, but this is more Cronenberg than the 50s movie. And Dexter's life is going to be really bad. It doesn't end well for Dexter, is what I'm saying. Following that is Worst Vacation, where in here, this is another Gravity Falls story, but in here it follows Robbie, Nate, Lee, Thompson. It's a boys' trip to Germany to go fuck some German girls. Doesn't go exactly planned because Robbie and the rest of the boys get captured and tortured horrendously. That's what happens. Because I really fucking hate Robbie, and I pretty much would have written some really horrendous shit that I don't want to repeat here. So the next one is The Box, and in here this is a Hellraiser crossover with what was it? Oh right, this was an Owl House crossover. This was Owl House and Hellraiser, where in here Ida has brought home, she's basically recovered from her. This is before she loses the gateway to Earth, where she brings in. She finds the lament configuration. She doesn't know what it is. She knows it's not from Earth, but she's like, "Don't touch this. It's gonna get me a pretty penny on the market." So I don't know what it is, but it looks cool. So of course Luz plays with it, and all hell breaks loose. Of course, Pinhead shows up. "The box, you opened it. We came." And if you wanted to see Ida get her skin ripped off, this is not the... You didn't want to see that? Too bad, that's what's in this story. So, following that, we have Ex Mortis, where in here, in this story... Oh, who was it? God damn, what was the... I really need to write this down sometimes, but in here, in this story... Oh, right, it was Randy Cunningham. In this story Randy, Howard, Teresa, Julian, and a lot of other friends all go to a cabin in the woods in order to just have a spring break vacation. That is until Randy discovers the Necronomicon in the cellar below. So he reads it and basically becomes our Ash for the story and has to chop up and murder all of his friends. So, doesn't end well for anybody there. Finally, we have Farewell to Flesh, where in here, this is Ladybug with Candyman. And in this story, this follows Marinette, who sees the other girls in the bathroom, more or less trying to dare each other to call Candyman. So she's like, that's dumb, I'm not going to do that, until Lila pushes the right buttons, and Marinette, of course, being the idiot that she can be, decides to say the 5 words, and throughout the story, she's haunted by Candyman throughout the story. So you're probably wondering how this all ends and where was the Welcome to Horrorwood track? Like, where is the first track? Well, in here, the end of the story ends, and the producer reveals himself as Black Hat from Villainous, and Black Hat proceeds to not only just kill you, he also, like, reveals all of Hollywood is just being torn apart, Purge style, by all the characters from the story, and they're all just ripping it apart and murdering people left and right, in a very Purge style ending. So there you go. That is pretty much my Welcome to Horrorwood story. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this story? Did you guys like it, hate it? What kind of stories would you do with the tracks? I'm very curious to hear that. But you guys tell me just comment below, let me know. And once again, if you haven't already, go check out my Patreon. And other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.